is it 10,000 years old, or is it 4.3 billion years old? And in the first edition of Systematic Theology, I gave arguments on both sides, and I couldn't make up my mind.
Okay.
But in recent years, so much scientific evidence has piled up, giving evidence for a very old Earth, 4.5 billion years old, in a 13.6 or 13.8 billion year old universe. It seems to me to be undeniable. So I've come to the conclusion that though the Bible teaches many things, it doesn't intend to teach us about how old the Earth is.
Right.
So I ended up saying that it seems to me that the old Earth view, that it's 4.3 billion years old, is more persuasive. But
and was there something special that triggered that, or was that a process of looking into more studies and coming?
It was a drip, drip, drip over time, one item and another and another. And I was also influenced by the writings and then also some conversations with Hugh Ross, R-O-S-S. He's an astrophysicist and a committed Christian. He has an organization called Reasons to Believe. And well, I'll give you one example. There's a kind of star called a white dwarf, and we can watch it as it's just about to burn out. The star gets very bright and then goes dark. It runs out of fuel. And it might take 6 weeks or a month to do that, and we can see it in process. Now, there's some of these white dwarfs that are, 100 million light years away. So if the Earth or the universe is only 10,000 years old, then there wasn't anything around 100 million years ago. In other words, that white dwarf never existed. But we see it. So what do we say? God put it there as an optical illusion to deceive us? That doesn't seem right.
So that's an interesting detail of the whole process. I understand.
Yeah. So I could say regarding the Genesis account, another section of this systematic theology is a stronger critique of theistic evolution. The idea that some Christians are promoting that evolutionary theory is Darwinian evolutionary theory is true, but that's just how God planned for it to happen. But they deny that God was actively involved in changing the behavior of matter. And I think just matter randomly mutated and created life and created all the different life forms that we have today. I think that's a dangerous view, and it contradicts about 12 factors in 10 or 12 factors in Genesis and the rest of Scripture.
So related to these two issues, the age of the Earth and also the idea of theistic evolution, what kind of reaction or even opposition did you get to that? Because you have become very intense in the way you express your opinions about these two topics.
Well, there's an organization in the United States called Answers in Genesis. They built the model of, or replicate of, Noah's Ark in the central part of the United States. And they have an apologetics ministry. And a friend of mine and former student named Terry Mortensen is very influential in that organization. And they have responded to my change of mind on the age of the Earth by saying, we appreciate Grudem's critique of theistic evolution, but we think he made a mistake in the age of the Earth issue. And they think that the days of Genesis 1, the 6 creation days, have to be 24-hour days. And I don't think the Hebrew text requires that. So we just have a difference of opinion on that. I would say, Valdemar, if I were on the search committee for a pastor of a church, I would accept a candidate who held an old Earth view or a young Earth view. Both are acceptable. And if I we're interviewing a candidate to teach here at Phoenix Seminary, where I teach, I I wouldn't care if the candidate had an old earth or a young earth view. As long as people believe the whole Bible, believe what it says, and are seeking to interpret it fairly and honestly, I think both views are acceptable.